What's going on, guys? Sticks here at the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a deck that is, well, not really centered around, but involving the new Xerneas-GX, well, relatively new anyway, from Forbidden Light. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton, and let's do more cool stuff for you guys. And if you are new to the channel here at TTM, we are a collaborative channel, so there is more than just the TCG, which is why you clicked on this video. We also have a lot of draft format content, as well as some Smogon content on occasionally. So if you are interested in any of those, please feel free to subscribe and also check out our Discord, as we do have channels for all different facets of Pokemon as well. But also, as for the question of the day, I've been trying to pay a little bit of attention to the regionals or the tournaments that have been taking place recently. I believe they're regionals, where just to see what types of decks are having success and to what extent they are having success. And I noticed that a lot of the decks that are that are in the top 8 are either centered around Forbidden Light cards, or at least have Forbidden Light cards very prominently featured. And so it got me wondering, is Forbidden Light actually that good, or is their success in tournaments kind of a result of people not having teched out properly against them yet, people not necessarily knowing certain matchups, like particularly Necrozma-GX, not Ultra Necrozma, but Necrozma-GX in Malamar was a deck that I saw having a lot of success. And so I started wondering, well, is that because Forbidden Light was just that good of a set that it lent itself to all of these successful decks, or is it because people don't quite know certain matchups, they haven't teched against certain matchups, and so all of a sudden it's just like, oh, well, there's this new very good deck that I don't necessarily know how to play against, or I don't have the right tech card for that. So what do you guys think it is? Do you think Forbidden Light was actually that good of a set, or do you think its success in recent tournaments is due to its newness? If you had to ask me, I would say it's actually a combination of both. Yes, I know that's a cop-out answer, but I think that Malamar in particular is definitely very, very strong. Like, being able to accelerate energy from the discard pile directly onto mons on your bench. I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen it with Metalink's Bronzong, and I think most prominently with Dynamotor Electric. So it's definitely a very, very strong ability that lends itself to a lot of success at the highest level. Besides that, like Greninja, I think Greninja definitely has potential in the proper deck, but honestly, I'm really not sure about anything except for Malamar. I mean, Ultra Necrozma is definitely very good, but again, we've seen more success with actually just I think it was Burning Shadows Necrozma. So yeah, anyway, I've talked for way too long about that. Let me know what you guys think the success of Forbidden Light decks in the most recent tournaments is due to, and why. I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this matter. But anyway, on to the deck. This is kind of centered around Xerneas, but this is actually an iteration of, I believe it was Tord Reckliv's Gardevoir-Zoroark deck that I just kind of changed here and there to add in Xerneas, as I do think Xerneas-GX can really help out this deck in a lot of ways, because with Sanctuary-GX, move all damage counters from each of your Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's basically a delete a Pokemon GX. And with Gardevoir being attacking a lot, as well as Zoroark, I mean, 210 HP, 220 HP, it is rare that these things are going down in one hit. So odds are your opponent is going to try to build up a board with a lot of damage on like Zoroarks or Gardevoirs. And with Xerneas' GX attack, just being able to use that late game and just be like, okay, all my damage counters, my Pokemon are now healed, and your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out. I think that's something that can be very, very strong. And admittedly, this deck, I don't think I found the most consistent build for it, especially in this current meta. But this was a list that I used that I was actually able to pull off as Sanctuary-GX, and I was kind of sad that I wasn't recording when I did, because it worked perfectly. I mean, it was just like, okay, you play the deck as a Gardevoir-Zoroark deck, and then when you have a ton of damage on the board, you play down a Xerneas, use Secret Spring to attach a couple energy, and then have Xerneas just heal up the rest of your Pokemon and destroy whatever Pokemon is in front of you. So it's a very cool combination that can work very well in the right situation, and I'm kind of excited to bring this because I think Xerneas actually can potentially have a spot in the meta if well, that being said, I mean, Gardevoir has to be in the meta in order for Xerneas to have a place. But I think if Gardevoir for some reason makes a comeback, I think Xerneas can see a spot in the deck. But anyway, as for the mons, 3/3 of Zorua and Zoroark with trade, Righteous Beating. You guys know what Zoroark does. It is like was the meta card. I don't know, with Buzzwole surging and among other things. I don't think Zoroark is as prominent as it was. Like, I don't think it's on 8 out of 8 top 8 decks, but I still think it's a very meta card. 4/1 of Ralts and Kirlia because we want to get as many Gardevoir or Gallade out as possible, and then 3/1 of Gardevoir and Gallade. Gardevoir with the Secret Spring to attach more energy, and also Infinite Force to do even more damage to our opponent based on the amount of energy attached to both of us, and then Gallade to kind of help out against against opposing Zoroarks, but also be a non-EX or GX attacker to work around these safeguard mons that we might run up against. I'm running one Kirlia. I know I was like kind of torn about just trying a 4/4 line of 4 Ralts and then 4 of the stage 2 and then 4 Rare Candy, but I decided no, I want to have one Kirlia in there. That way Evosoda can either get me a Zorua or a Kirlia. I don't just have to rely on Rare Candy to get that. One Xerneas because while I said that this card works very well in the deck, it's not good for much else apart from that GX attack. So, I mean, it's just one of those late game cards that you're like, okay, just save it for late game, and you only need one of them. Mew is to kind of help out with Buzzwole, just being able to one-shot that thing with Infinite Force from Gardevoir if you have enough energy on it, and then Buzzwole has like 1 or 2 energy. Yeah, you're able to easily knock it out with Infinite Force with a Mew-EX, and then 2 of the Tapu Lele's, just because, I mean, Lele is Lele. It helps us get set up faster. Lele into Brigette is the ideal turn 1. You guys know the spiel by now. As for the items, kind of a peculiar item set that I'm actually really liking for this deck. 2 Evosoda to basically just search our deck for either a Zoroark or a Kirlia, or in the case we have a Kirlia, an evolution for Gallade or Gardevoir. 2 Field Blower because we like our abilities, and also Choice Bands are annoying. 4 Puzzle of Time as opposed to any like Rescue Stretcher or Super Rod. Now, one thing I would suggest trying out if you don't like Puzzle of Time is running a Super Rod, a Rescue Stretcher, and then 2 more of the Fairy Energy. But, I don't know, I tried it out and I liked it, so I've just been rolling with it, but then again, I have not put in the hours that somebody that would be taking this deck to a tournament would, so definitely try that out for yourself. 3 Rare Candy to go straight from Ralts into one of these guys. 4 Ultra Ball to guarantee get what we want when we want. 2 Brigette, like I said, for Lele into Brigette. 3/2/2 of our draw supporters. Now it would be a 4/3/2 of Cynthia and Sycamore, but we have 2 Mallow because they work very well in conjunction with Zoroark, just being able to put 2 cards to the top of our deck and then immediately draw them with trade. It can help out getting Gardevoir's Gallade set up very early on. And then 3 Guzma, just because Guzma is Guzma. As for the tools, 1 Choice Band and 1 Float Stone, because with Puzzles of Time, we're able to recur those if we need them. But, I mean, we only necessarily need 1 at a time, and yeah, like I said, with Puzzles of Time, you're able to recur those. 4 DCE, and then 6 Fairy Energy. 6 Fairy Energy might seem a little low, and actually I kind of agree that it's a little low. I'd like to run more of them, but this deck just unfortunately did not have the room. So definitely try out different lines for yourself, and let me know what works best for you. But that being said, that's the deck, and let's just go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have got one against Lazarus? I don't know. Lazarus. There we go. That's a way to say it. Lazarus. So like a cool Lazarus. We do win the coin flip, so we will get to go first. I'm going to avoid any and all lightning storms after what I just said right there. And we start off with actually a pretty darn awesome hand. We get a couple Ralts, we got a Zorua, and then maybe I'm gonna get like, hopefully I can get a draw support, especially because my opponent has to mulligan, so hopefully I'll get something that I can use to draw. And we see the Enhanced Hammer, good to know, and the Zoroark from my opponent, so yeah, I feel like Gallade's gonna be pretty solid in this matchup. And I get another Ralts, which I'm definitely gonna play down, but okay, we see a Hoopa, and well, can't do much of anything. So what I'm gonna do is, let's go ahead and play a puzzle. No, let's play Mallow. Put 2 cards to the top of my deck for next turn. Definitely a Zoroark, as it will allow me to draw into that next card and I think a Rare Candy, as a Zoroark Rare Candy, will get me my Gallade guaranteed, as I can just go into Zoroark, and then I can trade for the Rare Candy, which will allow me to get my Gallade, and yeah, that will actually allow me to, I believe, Oko this Hoopa with a Sensitive Blade. We see an Energy and a Choice Band and an N, unfortunately. I mean, that's like, it's good and bad. Good in the sense that I get a hand when I didn't have one, but bad in the sense that what I had coming into was actually pretty solid. Well, I mean, this works. This definitely works. So let's just go ahead and Evosoda. Unfortunately, my Kirlia is prized. So let's just go ahead and evolve into one Zoroark and then Cynthia. Maybe get a Rare Candy into something. That's what I'm hoping for. And nope, instead I get all the Gardevoir I could ever want. So, draw into all of my Gardevoir, all 3 of them, with 40 cards left in my deck. I get an Energy. I'm going to Energy up this Ralts on the bench, as the Ralts that's active is probably going to go down to Hoopa, and then just end my turn right there. Man, that's funny. Just getting all of my Gardevoir at once. And my opponent does just attach the Energy to the Hoopa and plays the Altar of the Moon for free retreat. So is that going to come in handy for me? Because if I can get just a DCE and Gallade, well, DCE, Rare Candy, and Gallade, I will be able to just win the game. My opponent decides not to play down his Yveltal EX. Well, I hope he draws into something, because otherwise, if he doesn't, and I draw into a... Yeah, my opponent didn't draw into any more Pokemon. So, man, I even get a Gallade. Are you kidding me? So, draw into all of my Stage 2s at once. Not something I wanted. And I still cannot get, like... Honestly, this is where I'm just like... I'm drawing into nothing. Just like a whole lot of nothing. Just like stuff that's not useful to me in the least, and just in the perfect order for them not to be useful. So could just attach to Xerneas. Is there anything good in my discard pile? I mean, there's the Mallow and an Evosoda. So I think that might just be what I go to grab. Now let's grab the well, let's grab the Mallow first, and then the Evosoda, as like the rest of them are supporters, so they're really not going to help me. And I'd like to have the Mallow this turn, but unfortunately, I don't have it, so I'm just going to evolve into a Zoroark, and then Energy up another, just kind of spread my energy around just a little bit, get rid of my Zorua, maybe draw into a Rare Candy or something, and I get a Gardevoir, but still no... Man, still no Rare Candy. So, yeah, I mean, he's just attaching to the active Hoopa. I mean, I'm giving my opponent a ton of free time, so he better take advantage of this. Because right now, I'm just like, I'm clunking out, and I'm clunking hard. I wonder if a ton of my Rare Candy are prized. But I mean, let's be real. The odds of drawing into all 4 of your Stage 2s, like at the same time, is very, very low. Like, that just doesn't happen. And I get a Rare Candy. So what I can do, play down another Ralts, and I'm pretty sure I have the game won at this point, because I can just Mallow for Gallade and another Rare Candy. So I mean, I'm gonna get a couple evolutions. Let's put those up to the top. Go ahead and trade, get rid of the Float Stone in order to draw into both of those things. And yeah, with the Energy and the Gallade, I will be able to win the game. Let's first just evolve into Gardevoir for the style points, and then Rare Candy up into Gallade. And I could Premonition, trade again, get some good cards, but I mean, I have the game won at this point anyway, so I'm just going to attach Energy and Sensitive Blade, knock out my Hoopa. My opponent really should have played down that Yveltal EX, otherwise well, I mean, he wouldn't have lost if he played down the Yveltal. So yeah, or Yveltal, however you want to say it. And yeah, Gallade is able to take that game. That was a relatively anticlimactic game, all things considered. My opponent just attached to Hoopa, didn't play down anything else, and I clunked out for a while, but was eventually able to come through and get a Gallade evolved and win the game. So yeah, I mean, I'd say that was a solid game one, but meh, let's go ahead and just try to find another one. Alrighty, we have found another one against Acid Flaming with a hodgepodge deck. Just a whole bunch of different types. looks like there was water, there was grass, there was lightning, there was psychic, and unfortunately we do lose the coin flip. This deck really does like going first, as, I mean, you know, you like to evolve and all that. And I start off with actually a really, really nice hand. I get a Zorua, I'll have a Lele for a Brigette, and now I'll get to see what type of deck my opponent is running. See it. Okay, so this is a Vikavolt, most likely Bulu deck. Not sure what the water is, though. Could just be like Octillery or something to that effect. But I mean, when you see the Charge Bug, which is definitely Vika, the more than likely run Bulu with that as well. And I get a Zoroark, so this is... Yeah, if my opponent doesn't end me out of this, is actually a great hand. And we see a Xerneas. So that's something I'm going to have to keep an eye on as... Yeah, I mean, I have to make sure that I don't just attach any DCEs when I try to take that thing out. But all things considered, I think I should be in a pretty good spot. Just because, I mean, I think I have a pretty solid... I think I have a solid matchup, but... Wow, that was a voice crack. I think I have a solid matchup, but at the same time, Bulu could be... Bulu could definitely be a problem, considering it discards all its energy after getting off a big attack, and Gardevoir usually feeds off of that. So I even get a Ralts as well. So I'm going to be able to get a bench full of everything. There is Brigette. Let's see what there is. There's two Zorua and a Ralts, and looks like... Yep, my Xerneas is prized. All right. I mean, that was... Honestly, this is one of the matchups that Xerneas would be really, really nice in, with its GX attack being able to... I also have two Ralts prize. That sucks. But with its GX attack being able to move all the damage counters off of my Pokemon onto my opponent's active, and considering Bulu is not able to one-shot anything except for a Zoroark with a Choice Band, that's the only way it can one-shot one of my main attackers. Then Xerneas would come in really handy, just being like, okay, so I have a bunch of damaged Gardevoirs, I have a couple damaged Zoruas, just move all the damage counters off, heal everything from my Pokemon, and just knock out whatever you have in front of you. So Xerneas is phenomenal in this matchup, so I'm really, really hoping I can draw into it off of my prizes at the very least. My opponent is going to Skyla. What's he going to Skyla for? Rare Candy, so he must have the Vikavolt in his hand. Fine with me, honestly, all things considered. Like, okay, well, not fine, as I'd prefer if he didn't have a Vikavolt, just kind of ever. But he is even going to be able to Strong Charge, so he gets the Xerneas and the Bulu powered up. So that is, well, not the Xerneas powered up in the sense that it can attack, but it can go for the GX attack if that's what my opponent chooses to do, and he actually does. Unfortunately for him, fortunately for me, I have three different things that work with my hand. I have a Zoroark, I have a Cynthia, and I have an Evosoda. So all three of those things will allow me to not be crippled by this Lightning GX. I mean, yeah, the extra prize card does kind of suck, but all things considered, he does choose to get rid of the... does choose to throw the Zoroark into the discard pile, or into the prize card. So, I mean, that's not great, but that's okay, because I can just Evosoda into another Zoroark, energy up the Zoroark, Float Stone up the Zorua, so I can start wearing down this Xerneas and potentially getting other stuff. There's my Kirlia. That's pretty nice. So let's go ahead and evolve that right to there. Let's retreat. Actually, no. First things first. Let's trade. Get rid of the Field Blower. As I want the Choice Band, I want the energy. Maybe I can draw into a Rare Candy or something, and I do end up drawing into a Rare Candy. So I will be able to have two Gardevoir set up, which is really, really nice. So let's go into the Zoroark. Do I want a Choice Band? Do I want to Choice Band Zoroark up? I don't think so. I think I want to save the Choice Band for Gardevoir. Yeah, I think I want to save it for Gardevoir, as Zoroark's not going to be able to one-shot this thing anyway, and Gardevoir with a Choice Band will potentially... Well, I might need the Choice Band eventually to one-shot a Bulu or something like that. So, I mean, Zoroark have to take a two-shot anyway. Gardevoir has the potential for a one-shot later. I did damage that Xerneas pretty nicely. And yeah, I think I'm in, and my opponent's used up his GX attack, so that's great for me. Definitely gonna hold on to my GX attack for when I can use it with Xerneas, as that will put me in the best position, I think. He is going to Ultra Ball, probably grab another Bulu or something like that. Actually, no, he's going to grab the Octillery because, I mean, he has the Remoraid down, and he's going to be able to Octillery into more cards. So now an N can't even affect him all that much. And yeah, my opponent's got a good setup. He's got a Vikavolt, he's got an Octillery, he's even technically up a prize card thanks to Xurkitree, which honestly I think Xurkitree is a really cool addition to that deck, as you're able to... why didn't he attach a Grass Energy? Xurkitree would have been able to attack. I don't know. That was... maybe he didn't have it? Maybe it's prized or something like that? Either way, that's kind of interesting. But he is just going to go in and Nature's Judgment my Zoroark. But now what I can do is go ahead and evolve into my Gardevoir, hopefully trade into something useful. I'm going to get rid of the Rare Candy because, I mean, I already have 2 Gardevoir, and this also allows me to Ultra Ball for a Zoroark. So... yeah, no supporters. Let's actually do this instead. Let's go ahead and put the Sycamore up top so that I can that I can draw into it next turn. And then let's just hit the Bulu for 180 damage. He will not be able to heal that up, as it's going to get... he will not be able to heal that up, as it is going to... as he's already used up his GX attack. So now, Xurkitree and Bulu are damaged. My opponent, granted, does have a full setup, but I have 4 prizes easy on the board with Xurkitree and Bulu. I should be able to knock those things out relatively easily later in the game. And yeah, I'm in a good spot. Like, that's plain and simple. I'm in a good spot right now, I think. And anyway, I'd like to have a supporter, and I'd like to have energy. But unfortunately, neither of those things are happening right now. My opponent does play down another Bulu. He's going to Abyssal Hand, and honestly, he can knock me out with just a Horn attack, which means he can start powering up the Bulu on the bench. But, oh boy, that's annoying. That Aether Paradise is going to be annoying. He's going to Strong Charge. Yeah, probably just put a single Grass Energy on this active Bulu, and then the Lightning Energy on either the Xurkitree or his other Bulu. I would think his other Bulu, because he'd want to get that thing powered up as quickly as possible. But he doesn't even attach a Lightning. That's interesting. He's going to be able to knock me out regardless. And hopefully... and I just need another energy in order to be able to knock out the Bulu with my Gardevoir. So this is actually turning into a very, very interesting game. Because Horn Attack, yeah, it's going to be able to knock me out, like I said. He's going to take 2 prizes. Hopefully I can get an N off of something. And now I don't have any draw support, but I do know that I'm drawing into my Sycamore, which I'm 1,000,000,000% going to go for. Get a fresh hand, because I need 1 more energy, like I said, in order to knock out the Bulu. And, okay. So let's Secret Spring. Let's Secret Spring a single energy onto my Gardevoir with this one. And then I think Secret Spring an energy onto this one. Spread out my energy just a little bit so my opponent can't just focus down 1. And then let's attach to the active, because it's not going to go down in 1 hit. Yeah, let's attach the active because it's not going to go down in 1 hit. Let's go ahead and grab... wow, that's kind of a cool arrangement. Never seen that before. Let's grab that, as I'm pretty sure... yeah, okay, so that's... not sure if that's a glitch or I just got lucky, but... yeah, I knew that prize right there... or I had a feeling that prize was the Zoroark, because that's an unusual situation that TCGO might just be like, oh, okay, let's just... you put it in the prizes... let's make it so it's that prize that wasn't there before. So, I mean, I could have, like I said, could have just gotten lucky, and TCGO does know how to shuffle it. But otherwise, I'm just like, you know what, I'm okay with this. Like, I'll just grab that Zoroark. I have a feeling that's going to be the Zoroark, and it turned out it was. So now I do have some Pokemon draw support back in play. Unfortunately, I did not get my Xerneas, as now that my Gardevoir is attacking, its GX attack, like I said, could be very, very useful. But Xurkitree is going to hit me for some good damage. It's probably going to go down this coming turn. So it's going to go down this coming turn to either Gardevoir. And my opponent does actually get... Is he going to get a second Vikavolt? No, he doesn't. He's just going to Rumbling Wires hit me for 100 damage. And that's fine with me. I do have... Yeah, I have N, I have Cynthia, I have Zoroark, and I think I'm just going to N. Yeah, my opponent does have Octillery, but it does get rid of the Vikavolt that I know he has in his hand. And I get another Gardevoir. So, let's manually retreat so my opponent is forced to Guzma this coming turn in order to knock out this Gardevoir. And then let's trade, get rid of this Gardevoir. See if I can get something good. I get a Mallow, which I can use for Zoroark later. So let's Secret Spring. Put another energy onto... I think this Gardevoir needs all the energy it can get in order to one-shot Bulu. And then let's rearrange the top cards of my deck, see what I can get. Darn it, if I had just waited, I would have had double puzzle, which would have been really nice, as I could have grabbed another Zoroark. But, yeah, I'm just going to rearrange that. This Gardevoir is going to be able to knock out the Xurkitree from here with infinite force. Even though that only did 90 damage. But yeah, let's take 2 more prizes. And would you look at that, Xurkitree's... And then I draw into the Ralts. But Xurkitree's GX attack is actually keeping my opponent from potentially losing this game next turn. Because what I could do is just attach to Gardevoir, bring up the Lele, and then I would be able to win the game. So... Still no Xerneas, unfortunately, off my prizes, as, once again, like I said, he's not going to be able to one-shot me, so I'd really like to be able to just move all the damage counters off of my Pokemon onto my opponent's active. Like, that would honestly just win me the game. Like, it really would, just because, I mean, it wouldn't literally win me the game, as I'd still have to take another prize, but getting all the damage off of my Pokemon would be absolutely incredible. So I'm looking for, yeah, I'm definitely would like to get that Xerneas at some, well, I'd like to have that Xerneas now, but maybe I can get it off these next 2 prizes and potentially win the game, because my opponent is more than likely just going to retreat into Bulu and hit me for 210 damage. And if I had Xerneas right now, just being able to, like I said, go into that, move the damage counters, blah, 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 while getting rid of his main attacker would just be game. My opponent does have a ton of energy in the discard pile. He's going to Guzma. Ah, crap. He's going to knock out my Gardevoir. Man, that sucks. That was such a great top deck for my... Or such a great draw by my opponent, that Guzma. Ah, dang it. Because this was my way of... Yeah, this is my way of knocking it out. And he doesn't even have to get rid of his energy in order to knock out my Gardevoir. But he does anyway. I mean, he has to have an energy recycler in his hand in order to be able to attack again. But that was smart by my opponent because it keeps me from being able to... just attach to Gardevoir and then knock out the Bulu. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's Lele... Yeah, let's Lele for N. Yeah, because there's nothing particular in particular that I want from my deck that Mallow would be able to get me. So I think just ending my opponent down to 2, even though he has Octillery, would be ultimately beneficial for me. And then I can just trade, get rid of the Evosoda, as it has 0 use at this point. Maybe get, well, there are all my Ultra Balls. So let's Ultra Ball, get rid of 2 Ultra Balls for a Gallade. There's no rare candies left in the deck, but there is double puzzle. So what I can do is just go ahead and chip down this Bulu, start slowly wearing it down for a potential knockout, and just kind of have to deny my opponent prizes any way that I can at this point. Because, yep, and of course I end him into a Cynthia. That's better than a Guzma, I guess, in terms of, and he draws into an energy recycler. I mean, he doesn't have that many cards left in his deck, so I guess it was only a matter of time. But he's going to be able to put those energy back. He's going to be able to attack with the Bulu, and I just have to play the energy denial, or the prize denial game at this point, because thanks to that Xerneas GX attack, I could have knocked out the Bulu, but then I still need to take another knockout in order to win the game. So yeah, my opponent is honestly playing this excellently. Really is. Just being able to, I mean, using that GX attack early that puts me in this position where I can't just knock out the Bulu to win the game. And he Abyssal handed for a single card. And that was an energy then. And it was a grass energy at that. Man, that blows. So yeah, these top decks are not helping my cause at all. Nature's Judgment is going to do a crap load. Yeah, 210. And Xerneas would be really nice right now, but unfortunately that's just not a thing. And oh, top deck of Sycamore, that might just win me. That might just save me the game. Being able to now Field Blower, not only get rid of the. Yeah, let's get rid of both of these. Yeah, get rid of both of those. Especially wanted to get rid of the conservation area. And actually what I should have done is... Yeah, what I should have done is actually gotten rid of one of the choice band off of, like, the Charge-a-Bug or the Lele. But see if I can draw into double puzzle. No, I do not. So I will just fortunately be able to Righteous Beating this Bulu. And then maybe Xerneas. Maybe Xerneas. Let's see, can I draw into Zoroark? And Xerneas is my last prize card. That sucks, because Xerneas, like I was saying over and over, would have been amazing in this matchup. Like right now, I still have my GX attack available. I would be able to completely heal up my Gardevoir. Like, I'd just be able to take a one-shot on something. Like, plain and simple. That's... Yeah, my opponent Cynthia, so unless he can't Guzma, I think I actually still win the game regardless. Like, yeah, my opponent played it phenomenally, but the fact that he had to Cynthia, he couldn't Guzma, he has no way of one-shotting my Zoroark, so all I have to do is just knock out like Octillery or something like that. So he's going to charge up the Charge-a-Bug. What's his play? So I'm trying to figure out what my opponent's play is. I think I have him reduced to in the amount of cards that he can go for. So he's gonna Lele. He's already Cynthia this turn, so he can't end me out of this hand. Like, this hand, I get to keep. It does just play the Lele down, I guess, as one last search through his deck. And what's his play? He can't afford to let me just attack his Lele. Oh, he's going to go into Charge-a-Bug. I guess he's trying to... Well, he's going to paralyze me, obviously. But I guess he was just trying to win the game off of that. But unfortunately for him, I have a Zoroark, I have a DCE, and I even drew into the double puzzle. I have the Guzma. So basically, I just win the game, because all I have to do is just Guzma up the Octillery, go into my Zoroark, into my other Zoroark, and then knock it out with Righteous Beating. And now we are going to see that, yep, Xerneas was my last prize card. That would have been super handy in this game. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to show off what Xerneas was able to do. I was forced to just use it as a... Well, I was forced to just use this deck as a Gardevoir-Zoroark deck, which, don't get me wrong, is a very good deck. Like, there's a reason it was as successful as it was. But I think Xerneas is a very cool tech in this deck for certain matchups and certain situations. And this last game, like I was saying over and over, would have been absolutely perfect for showing off Xerneas, as it was the perfect matchup, the perfect type of situations for it. And unfortunately, the one copy that I ran was my last prize card. So, I mean, this deck wasn't necessarily centered around Xerneas, but it had a Xerneas tech, which would have worked in this matchup, but unfortunately I was not able to show that off. But regardless, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.